Dragon Rampant is a fantasy skirmish game. It is written by Daniel Mercier, and I hope I didn't butcher that. I'm sorry if I did. It is published by Osprey Publishing Company, and the book is about 67, 68 pages long. It's all you need. There are no expansions to this book. There is no miniatures line associated with this book. Now, in order to play the game, you will need miniatures. Miniatures of any manufacturer, any kind that you have. You will need dice, and the book recommends about 12. I usually use a lot more. You need a measuring device, such as something that you make on your own, or a measuring tape for moving miniatures. You also need, or is useful to have, little tokens. So like these little colored gems that you can use to mark certain effects in the game. And a mat, if you have it, you don't really, it's optional. It does make the game a lot more enjoyable. And of course, terrain. You can make your own terrain. It certainly makes the game a lot more interesting. So that's basically what you need to play. So this is my sample army for Dragon Rampant. This is the army I will be using for my games. And this represents about 26 points without any upgrades or anything like that. I expect it to go up to 30 or 32 after all the upgrades and everything else. So there's a good amount of models making up this army from many different manufacturers and ranges. So the turn in Dragon Rampant comes in two major phases, the attacker and the defender, and once all that is resolved, then it moves on to another turn. Now, in your turn, you can either attack, move, or shoot. This game is an order activation game in which you give your unit an order, then you have to roll a test to see if it accomplishes that order. The three different orders, the major orders, are attack, move, and shoot. If you fail the test for whatever reason, then your opponent gets to activate one of their units. Usually, models will have a stat for either move, attack, or shoot, in which that stat determines what you'll have to roll on a six-sided dice in order to accomplish that order. So let's say this unit of 3 trolls, you want to give them a move order. You roll a six-sided dice. Their move stat is a 5+, meaning you need a 5 or a 6 to actually accomplish that order. You only roll a 2, so the trolls don't listen and they don't move. They stay put. Now your opponent has a chance to move with one of their units. But let's say your trolls roll a 6, then you are able to move whatever their maximum distance is in inches. Now you have rules for terrain, how that affects movement. You have rules for other kinds of actions, like magic, for example. But those are the three major things that you do in your turn: attack, move, or shoot. You have 12 different profiles in Dragon Rampant. They describe what your unit is. So for example, you have light infantry, heavy infantry, you have greater war beasts, lesser war beasts. Those are just some of the profiles you can choose. For example, this unit here is a light infantry unit. That's what I called it. And that's because these guys have less armor than all my other guys. There is a leader there, that big snake-like individual with a big weapon. That is the leader of that unit. So that is an example of a Lightfoot. Now if we go here, I have an example of a heavy infantry unit, and that's because these Ninja Turtle dudes are heavily armored with big spiky clubs. And so I decided to name them heavy infantry. And most of my guys are heavy infantry because of the fact that they are lizardmen. So you can choose whatever profile you want for your units to describe them. and the book does give you suggestions on what kinds of things that the unit profiles go with. There is also your typical fantasy races like elves, humans, dwarves, lizardmen, and these are in the back of the book, and it gives you ideas for combining your unit profiles with whatever race you chose to represent. The key to understanding Dragon Rampant is its battle system. It's a very simple system. It relies on two numbers, 6 and 12. That is it. And I will talk about that in just a minute. 6 and 12. And that determines how many models you have in a unit and everything else. So, the two stats, and you're given about 13 stats. Every unit profile has all the stats for that profile. There are about 13. So like movement, attack, you have attack value, which is what you need to hit on a 6-sided dice. But the two most important things are strength and armor. These determine how many models you have in your unit and really are the basics for combat. So let's say that this 6 strength unit, it is 6 strength, 6 models, right? So every model has 1 strength point, and it has armor 1. So that's pretty straightforward. For every hit this unit takes, 1 strength is going to go down. So you remove 1 model, and that's how you keep track of casualties. Say the unit is hit again. It is armor 1, so you remove another model. And usually not the leader. You're going to want to remove from the other models first. And that's how that works. However, this is a light infantry unit. And so light infantry units have 2 armor, 6 strength. So I have 6 models. But for every 2 hits, I'm going to take away 1 model. Well, that is, for every 2 hits, you're going to remove 1 strength. The armor stat goes from 1 through 4. That's it. And you have either 6 strength or 12 strength. So in my elite unit, which has my general, they have armor 4. They have armor 4 and strength 12. So there are also 3 models in the unit. For every 4 hits that this unit takes, you remove 1 strength point. So that unit is going to absorb a lot of hits. So this is a heavy missile unit. It has these guys have some really giant crossbows. So I chose the heavy missile profile to describe them. And there were only 2 models in this unit. This is a 2 armor unit and 12 strength. So for every 2 hits, 1 strength point is going to be taken out. That means these guys can really absorb a lot of hits, and each creature technically has 6 strength points. So it is this relationship between strength and armor that allows you to have a wide variety of different unit sizes. And all of that is described in the unit profiles. This unit, for example, is a 12 strength unit. It is only 1 model. It is a greater war beast. And with units like these that have only 1 model, you use dice to keep track of damage. With units like these that have more models, then you use the models themselves and remove them from the unit to represent casualties. The other most important thing in the combat system is that when a model is reduced to half strength, that model loses half its attack dice. So you start with, if you're at full strength, like all these units in this army are at full strength, right? They have 12 attack dice. That is, you use 12 6-sided dice in your attacks because it is at full strength. If this unit, for example, loses 1 guy, there's 1 guy left, it is at half strength. It now attacks with 6 dice, not 12. Same thing with this unit. It is a 4 model unit. If it loses 2 guys, it now, instead of attacking with 12 dice, it attacks with 6 dice. And what this does is that it really does reduce your chances of hitting as you weaken. So the magic number in this game is 6 and 12 with regard to strength points. And these are my guys. I have a lot of heavy infantry, I have a light infantry, I have some more beasts, and they are all lizardmen. That was my rule. It had to be all reptiles or reptilian-like. And that is all on Dragon Rampant, folks. The rules have... There are other rules, rules for magic. You have what's called fantastical options, which allows you to have spellcasters. It allows you to have werewolves. You can have venom, you know, on your models. They can spit venom, all this stuff. So there's special abilities and traits, and the book goes over some of those things.